How did week 5 of the NFL season impact our perspective of the NFC? We're delivering our updated NFC Power Rankings today on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast.
You are Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, your daily podcast for NFL and college football scouting. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's better than this? It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast. We're the Draft Dudes. I'm Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. He is Kyle Krabs from Locked On Dolphins. And we are your NFL experts here with you daily to talk team building across the league on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast with the Draft Dudes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'd like to thank you for making Locked On NFL Scouting your first listen every day, and a big welcome and shout out to our everydayers. You know who you are. Those of you who never miss a single episode, we appreciate y'all being here very, very much. Today's episode is brought to you by Jace Medical. Empower yourself when you purchase a Jace case, providing you with a personal supply of 5 antibiotics that treat 50-plus infections. Get yours today at jasemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com.
Joe, I hope we are having a better day than the reporter who asked James Franklin if he ever just wanted to throw one up there.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I feel it in my skin.
Crawling.
My skin is crawling. What are you talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, you know what you did with Jahan Dotson and Chris Godwin? No.
We never did that.
No, we never just threw it up no matter what.
When I coached wide receivers, I never wanted them to do that.
Great rant. What's funny is you probably didn't think I saw that.
I was hopeful. I knew that one made the rounds over the last couple of days. So,
yeah, I saw it this morning. While I was killing a little time,
we got a little wee woo.
Oh wow, I don't know this wee woo unless it's about Anthony Richardson missing 4 games.
Courtesy of Jim Irsay.
Oh,
he's gonna miss a quartile of the season.
Oh, did he say quartile?
No, he didn't.
Could only help.
Anthony Richardson going on IR. That's a bummer.
Kyle, I have a question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
What's your hockey appetite this year?
It's going to be good. I know you're having a hard time watching Sabres games, though, huh?
I figured it out. You got to get an ESPN Plus subscription. So I'm going to
how they get you. And can you watch all the games then that way?
Yeah, I think you get like most of them. But ESPN Plus has other things that I've wanted in recent times, and I'm like, all right, I should probably do this. I have the Disney Plus. I think you can bundle them, so I'm going to figure that out.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're going to be hockey guys this year.
Are you Florida Panthers? Is that where you're going to be?
Yes.
All right, because I know it's been like a 10-year journey here for you to figure out your hockey team.
Magical run, and I got into it in the playoffs last year. I'm like, this is it. Yeah.
Because I know you went from like it was going to be Vegas and then Seattle.
And Vegas wasn't fun because Vegas was good right away. And it's like, well, that just feels like low-hanging fruit, right?
Yeah, and then they won the Cup last year.
Yeah, they beat the Panthers. Outclassed them.
I didn't mean that as a shot to the
it's fine.
Panthers, but
it was a really fun spring for South Florida sports.
Yeah, maybe it'll continue to be fun, except for the Hurricanes. But
the Marlins made the playoffs. They were there for a cup of coffee, but they made the playoffs.
Orioles too. You see this stat about the Orioles?
No, what's the stat?
They hadn't been swept in over 500 days, like the longest streak in the history of baseball.
And then they got swept.
Yeah, and my brother told me recently, I'm like, who are the good teams in baseball? Because he's kidding me. I give up on baseball in April every year, as we know. And I was like, he's like, who are the good teams? He's like, Baltimore. I'm like, no, they're not. Baltimore's not good at baseball.
They have not been good in like 30
I've been
years.
alive before, and I know that Baltimore's not good at baseball. So consider me unsurprised that they got to the playoffs and got swept because they've never been good. Except for that 1 year. Who was that guy?
Well, I know they
who took steroids and got all the home runs.
Coward.
Come on, you know this guy. Oh, what was his name? Out of nowhere, he had like the greatest season in baseball history for the Orioles.
I know who you're talking about.
Brady? Is it Brady something?
I can't think of his name. It's not important right now.
We're going to talk about the NFC before we lose all of our
We're going to talk about the NFC, and we'll circle back if we have time at the end of the show.
Brady Anderson?
Maybe. That might be right.
Well, okay, the 49ers are number one. For those of you on pins and needles waiting for us to get to it, I don't think it was Brady Anderson. Maybe it was. I don't know. Yes, he was. He had 50 home runs in 1996. 50.
Right.
Guy played 15 years in the league and had 210, but 50 of them in one season.
Yeah, so he had like 25% of his career home runs in
all right.
one season.
All right.
Anyway,
49ers are
here's
one.
Wonderwall. 49ers are one.
Yeah.
They were number one for both of us when we last did this going into week 5. No, into week 4. We skipped it in week 5 because we did the quarter season updates. So San Francisco holding serve, obviously no reason to change. That was each of our number 1 respective team. I have a feeling our number 2 respective team is going to stay the same as well because I haven't lost a game yet. It's Philadelphia Eagles for me is number 2.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine anyone's NFC Power Rankings not beginning with 49ers and Eagles 1 and 2. I don't think there's real.
I actually think there's a correct answer at number 3.
Oh, you're damn right there is. The Detroit Lions.
Our Lions are
Other.
number 3. That's right.
Ben Johnson.
And I have a take.
What?
What do you think a neutral site spread would be for Detroit, Philadelphia?
I think that they would still give Philadelphia the favorites. I think they'd be 2.5. 2 or 2.5.
2 or what?
2 or 2.5.
I would take Detroit to cover that in a neutral site game.
And Jared Goff's playing quarterback.
Yes.
I mean, right now, Jared Goff's playing top 6 quarterback in the league level. Maybe more, maybe better. Out of his mind. Ben Johnson. Guy's going to pick his spot for where he's going to be the head coach somewhere. I love it.
Where's he going? Chargers or Cowboys?
Ooh. Let's hope not the Chargers, Kyle. We don't need that happening.
we don't need.
But how do you not do that if you're
AFC on top of everything else that's already over there?
If you're the Chargers, how is that not your play? How is that not your play?
I don't know. I was listening to Pro Football Talk, and Mike Florio was big braining like if Belichick got fired, and was like, would he get hired somewhere else?
No.
Was that Florio or was that might have been Rich Eisen's show? I already told you in the pre-show, I've gone down this drain of like all this Belichick Patriots content right now. And I know we're in the NFC.
Yeah.
But the top 3's chalk, right? The top 3 teams in the NFC. So I won't derail that. But 49ers blowing everybody out. Philadelphia, they're undefeated. You acknowledge how good they were last year. You acknowledge they're having some transitional issues and they're kind of finding their footing. Detroit, their only loss was to my number 4 team in the NFC conference, which is the Seattle Seahawks.
Yep.
You too?
Yeah, they're 4.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. So we're chalk through 4. And Detroit, I mean, I think the biggest surprise is how well the defense is playing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're flying around. Aiden Hutchinson.
Interception king, Aiden Hutchinson.
Right.
He's really developed that outside rush, man. Last year he was winning with effort and inside moves. Now he's got a little bit more of an outside move to him. The spin move is really good. Lions, baby. Really real. What's their record over like the last 20 games? Isn't it like something crazy?
20 games?
Or whatever it is.
20 games. But I know you go back to when they were, 1 and... I mean, the owner gave the speech.
They won 8 of their last 10 last year.
So now they're 12-3 in their last 15 then.
Pretty good.
That should continue. That should continue because the team that I had at 4 has fallen way down, and they're in the NFC North. So we'll talk about them a little later. Who's your number 5?
Tampa.
I have Dallas.
Okay.
I really struggle with how far to drop them.
I
put Dallas.
What's your tell me about it? Because what concerns me about Dallas is twice they have not been competitive this year against a really good team and a really bad team.
Right. I still do think the defense at the end of the day is very, very good. You're concerned about Leighton Vander Esch and his injury and what that means for Micah Parsons. And is Micah Parsons going to be less involved in where he's so dominant as a pass rusher on the edge? You've obviously already lost Trayvon Diggs. The passing offense is not it, right now. And
Sure.
that's the biggest thing that has to get under control. Now, if you could stay healthy up front, I do think you could still run the ball. But are you going to want to play that brand of football? And if the answer is yes, then okay, like, do it. And if the answer is no, then somebody's got to step up. And Gallup, I'm worried about what he has left in the tank, period.
Yep.
And that contract's not looking great for them.
Right.
Brandon Cooks, where you at, man? Like,
Well,
Brandon Cooks has had like 2 seasons in his entire NFL career where he hasn't had 1,000 yards, and he's invisible.
9
right
catches,
now.
73 yards through he's played in 4 games.
It's bad. Like if you are not CeeDee Lamb, if you are not Tony Pollard, or you are not Jake Ferguson, you are not contributing anything of meaningful substance at all offensively.
So it's hard to point the finger, right? Is it Dak, or is it like, does he just not have enough around him? It's probably a little bit of both, but probably more the cast, I'll be honest with you.
Concerns with obviously the coaching scheme change to McCarthy.
Yeah.
So like it says, there's a lot of overlap here that's going to be difficult to sew out, but they got to get it figured out. But I do think the strength of the defense was enough for me to still leave them at 5.
All right. In just a moment, you'll find out where I have Dallas. But first, our partners at eBay Motors have teamed up with Locked On Fantasy Football host Vinny Iyer to bring you some of the best fantasy picks each week, all season long. So whether you're prepping for a daily draft or scouting the waiver wire, every week we're going to provide you with players that are guaranteed to fit on your roster. So let's see who Vinny has picked out for us on this week's eBay's Guaranteed Fit Fantasy Picks of the Week. Baker Mayfield, to the surprise of many, has been a borderline QB1 in fantasy while enjoying his most efficient season as a passer. Coming off a Buccaneers Week 5 bye, he should need to pass for high volume in a matchup with Jared Goff and the red-hot Lions at home in Week 6. Mayfield has been locked into a variety of receivers, and the Lions can struggle to cover the slot target, Chris Godwin, and tight end Cade Otton. The Bucs also won't be able to run much on Detroit, leading to pleasing passing digits from Baker Mayfield. Vinny Iyer from Locked On Fantasy Football is going to help you win your fantasy championship, and eBay Motors knows a championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. Same with your vehicle. With over 122 million parts for your ride, number one ride or die, you can make sure your ride stays running smoothly. Brake kits, LED headlights, roof rack bumpers, whatever your baby needs, eBay Motors has it. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Plus, at these prices, you're burning rubber and not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Now that we will.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Bill Belichick has confirmed that Mac Jones will be the starting quarterback.
No.
In Week 6.
For the first 3 quarters of the game, right? And then Bailey Zappa.
We're not making any changes.
Yeah. All right. See you in 2 weeks, Bill. I have the Cowboys at 6, Kyle.
Okay. And I have the New Orleans Saints at 6.
Okay, so we're different on Tampa.
Not too much. I have Tampa at 7.
Okay. And I have the Saints at 7.
Okay, so now we're back. Same top 7. Just different order here. Shuffle around a little bit. So you're highest on Tampa.
Yeah.
Talk about sustainability of Tampa.
Well, I mean, I'm concerned about the sustainability of Tampa, but I'm also impressed with what they've been able to accomplish to this point. And so I'm leaning into that a little bit. Let me pull up my notes here on Tampa. Give me 1 second. I moved away because I was looking at Dallas. Tampa, obviously, they're coming off a bye, so we didn't get to see them, but they're 3-1. Their only loss comes to Philadelphia, and they beat the Saints. That forced me to put them above the Saints, and then I put them above Dallas because of what I said. Like, Dallas was not competitive in 2 games this year, and I feel like I'm doing the college football thing, but you got to justify why you have teams in certain places, and so I think we'll learn a lot about Tampa. Their next game is against Detroit, then they have Atlanta, then Buffalo. So I think those are all teams with winning records. And I certainly think a lot of Buffalo and Detroit in that stretch. And so this next 3 games will speak a lot to their season. But based on what they've done to this point, I thought they deserved to be ahead of Dallas, and I thought they deserved to be ahead of New Orleans.
So obviously the feather in the cap for Tampa in this debate is the fact that they did not just beat New Orleans
26-9, right?
They beat them 26-9 in New Orleans, right? So I understand that, is a really nice point in the argument between the two. I think my belief is that I still look at the talent that New Orleans has. You think about Derek Carr trying to get on the same page. Then he was dealing with a throwing shoulder injury. For them to come alive the way that they did the following week against New England and kind of make their own respective statement and a bounce back was enough for me to fade back into who I ultimately think the better roster is, which is New Orleans. And I don't trust Tampa's coaching any more than I distrust New Orleans' coaching. Those two coaching staffs with Todd Bowles and Dennis Allen.
Yeah, but don't you feel like from a coordinator perspective, like I like Canales and I like Bowles on defense, right? Like I like those dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I guess overall, the influence of Bowles kind of concerns you a little bit.
Right.
But I don't know. I feel like from a coordinator perspective, if you break it down like that, I like the operation in Tampa better.
Sure. But then you look at the roster, and New Orleans, in theory, I think has significant advantages in a number of different spots. So
it'll play out.
It'll play out. All right. They'll play each other again. When is that game? When did the next play? They play New Orleans
probably the last 3 weeks of the season, I'm sure.
Week 17 in Tampa. Yeah. So lot will change between then and now.
Now we got to sort out these next three teams.
The remainder of the top 10.
Yeah, I think I'd be surprised if we didn't have the same three teams. The order could be interesting, but I think there's a pretty clear cutoff after 10.
The Rams are 8.
Yes, Rams are 8.
Yes.
I'm with you on that. I didn't know if you were going to lean into probably not Green Bay with how they looked against the Raiders, but
no.
Atlanta
Falcons are 9.
Yeah, well, they're 9 for me as well, and I thought maybe they have a better record than LA, but here's the deal. I mean, LA has been competitive in every single game. They have a quality win over the Saints. I mean, they've had a really tough stretch. They've played 49ers and the Eagles to this point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Atlanta had 2 games where they got blown out. I mean, congrats on the comeback win and all that last week, but the previous 2 games you lost by multiple scores. I think LA has passed the eyeball test to me a lot better than the Falcons have this year.
I would agree. And we like that coaching staff. They're getting Cooper Kupp back now.
Yes.
So they haven't infused. I mean, everything that they've been, and oh, by the way, Cooper Kupp's back.
Yeah. And credit to them on defense. Like I thought from a talent perspective, this is bottom 3 in the league. They're playing at least okay.
Raheem Morris, man.
Yeah, he deserves a lot of love, man. And we're talking about good offenses here in Seattle, in Philadelphia, in San Francisco. I mean, obviously Cincinnati, we know what they're capable of. Like they've had a pretty tough stretch to this point.
Yeah.
And like now they get Arizona this week, then they get Pittsburgh, at Dallas, at Green Bay before their bye. I think
they'll win 3 of those games. They'll win 3 of those games.
So Atlanta and Pittsburgh both at home. Arizona and Pittsburgh both at home.
Yep.
And then you think they get one of Dallas or Green Bay on the road.
Yeah.
They do that, they're going into the bye feeling pretty good based on
where
I thought this team was going to be.
What's their record right now?
2-3 right now.
So that'd be 5 and
4.
5 and 4
into the bye. And you got Seattle, Arizona, Cleveland, Baltimore, Washington, Saints, Giants, Niners. Like you could get to like 9 wins here, and that might be enough.
I would be willing to bet it probably is in the NFC because the South is going to I know the South has records that look good right now. They're all going to cannibalize each other.
Print the shirts and hats for the Lions in the NFC North. Like I know that Lions fans are probably, but like print the hats, right? Nobody's the threat there.
All the faith and hope in Green Bay is out the window right now.
Right.
They've just looked atrocious at times. So I don't trust them at all. Minnesota's 1-4. It ain't happening. Chicago 1-4. It ain't happening. Washington's shown us who they are the last 3 weeks, who they really are the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, it took
losing
miracles
to Chicago by 3 touchdowns.
It took miracles for them to not be 0-5, dude.
Right. And they needed what? The defensive touchdown against Arizona in week 1?
Yeah, and then to have a big comeback and then almost blow it against Denver in week 2.
Right.
We haven't even got to watch. They're coming up, but.
Right. So I think comfortably LA is I think they're a playoff team right now, which I remember saying to you in July or early August. Imagine thinking the Rams are a playoff team with this roster. Coaching
Stafford.
goes a long way.
Yeah.
Coaching and good quarterback play goes a long way when you got young talent.
Dude,
Or young
and
players.
how disappointing is Van Jefferson? I mean, now he's traded away. He's on the Falcons, but like, I feel like I've been waiting so long for it to happen. And then I'm like, all right, start of the season, Cooper Kupp's not in there. It's going to be him, Puka Nacua, and Tutu Atwell. Surely Van Jefferson's going to get some run. What did he catch? 2 passes?
Right.
I mean, I hope it works out for him in Atlanta, but man.
It's like the who's the dude in Kansas City? Went to Clemson.
Justin Ross?
Yeah. It's like the Justin Ross thing. It's like, it's just not going to happen, right? Like
Mecole Hardman's another one, right? He's on the trade block. Like,
I don't know why the expectations for Mecole Hardman were anything other than he ran a 4.3 and played in Kansas City.
When if he didn't produce in Kansas City, why did we think it was going to happen somewhere else?
Right. Yeah. Well, good question, Joe. I'm glad you asked. The 10 spot for me is Green Bay. And it's less about what I still think of or am hopeful for with Green Bay, and it's more about what's behind it. Tire fire. So
right.
Lesser of all evils here. Green Bay is going to go at 10.
Yeah, they get yes, exactly. De facto number 10 because of what's below it. So 6 through 10, I have it Dallas, New Orleans, the Rams, Atlanta, Green Bay.
And I have it New Orleans, Tampa, Rams, Falcons, Packers.
All right, we're going to sort out the bottom of the NFC here in just a moment. But first, everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. That's why Jace Medical offers the Jace Case. The Jace Case provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use and gives you a peace of mind so that you are not just hoping that you have access to medication in an emergency. Jace Medical makes sure that you have it on hand. Jace Medical is simple. They handle everything from the online evaluation to licensed pharmacy medication delivery and ongoing consultation and care. So don't get caught unprepared. Get $20 off these life-saving antibiotics today from Jace Medical by using our promo code LOCKEDON at checkout on jacemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com.
Okay, so last 6 should be fun.
Man,
you could fun loosely.
You could probably sort this out in any order, and I'd probably accept it.
Take the team with 2 wins and put them at 11, right?
I didn't do that. And I have a case for my number 11 team.
Go ahead. Tell me it's the Arizona Cardinals.
No, it's the Minnesota Vikings, because you know what I can say about the Minnesota Vikings that I can't say about any of these other teams? They've been competitive in every single game. Yes, they're 1-4, but they have not gotten blown out a single time this year like all the rest of these teams have multiple times.
Are you still going to put them at 11 with Justin Jefferson on IR?
Brother, it's not looking good. I have low expectations like I do for every team down here. But to this point, they've not gotten blown out. Okay. Every single one of these other teams have gotten blown out multiple times.
So I have Washington. I would put Minnesota there if not for saying, well, now Justin Jefferson's going to miss the next month. So I take 1-4 record and that. And for me, it was to say, okay, just take the team with 2 wins and put them at 11 and let's.
The Vikings' losses are Bucks, Eagles, Chargers, and Chiefs. And they didn't get blown out.
I understand that.
So, yeah, I don't like where this is headed. They got the Bears next. They might be able to get that one.
They spit in the face of the football gods all year last year. And the football gods are spitting back this year.
Kind of expected it, but
even like fumble luck. I don't remember who it was. It might have been Luke Braun, but he was talking about like fumble luck for Minnesota, and like they fumbled the first possession in that game against Kansas City, and they had like incredible fumble luck all year last year.
I give Luke a lot. Luke Braun, host of Locked On Vikings, I give him a lot of credit because I think he's been really honest about what this team is throughout like a crazy good year last year.
Right. I remember doing the crossover with him, and he's like,
same.
Yeah, they're not that good.
Right. Well, they're 8-1.
We just keep waiting for it to stop. Like,
right. So he's been really cool about it. But I have so you have Washington at 11. I get it. They got double the wins of anyone else in the bottom 6
right.
here. I get your case here. But, I mean, they've been getting their butts whooped the last several weeks.
Yeah,
Dude, they got smoked by Chicago.
They did get smoked by Chicago.
At home, in Washington, in Landover, Maryland.
It's not a great home field advantage.
It's really not. That stadium's a little newer than you think it's going to be, too. I was watching on Thursday night, they're like, what is it? FedEx Field built in like 1998. I'm like, really? This is
Snyder just never touched it after 98.
Imagine being a gazillionaire and buying your favorite NFL team and then building that stadium. And don't you care about your legacy at all? Like, obviously he didn't, but
who do you have at 12?
Washington.
Okay. So we just have 11 and 12 flip-flopped. And the only reason for me that Minnesota is below Washington is because Washington has 2x the wins and Justin Jefferson's on IR, which does not bode well.
You all heard my case for the Vikings.
So 13, what a role we live in. And that for me, it's the Arizona Cardinals.
That's what I have there too. Been more competitive.
Okay,
more consistently competitive than the next three teams.
Scrappy bunch. Those Arizona Cardinals. Chicago, 14.
Okay, I'm not fighting hard about this. I have the Giants at 14.
If I didn't have to watch 60 minutes of New York Giants football on Sunday, I probably would have been more receptive than not putting them last. They're going to get their quarterbacks killed.
Wait, you have them lower than Carolina?
The New York Giants are last.
Oh boy.
They are awful. It's bad.
They won a game.
Great. They beat Arizona with Daniel Jones getting the Super Mario mushroom.
Yeah. Better not find that this week. I'll tell you that.
You ever see that kid that like pretends he's Mario or whatever and is running around the house singing that song and he runs into the door frame and knocks and falls over?
No, I want to let you know.
I'll see if I can find it for you.
I mean, does he have lots of videos or just one video?
It's just one video. No, it's like he's like at his birthday party and like he's like it's a Mario themed party or something, and like he gets like a piece of cake and he treats it like the mushroom, and then he like starts running around like he's got he's all like frapping, right? That's what you say like with cats and dogs when they like start running around like.
I say they have the zoomies. Frapping's the phrase.
So he gets the zoomies.
Okay, are you sure?
The kid gets the zoomies, and he's running around his house and he's not paying attention, and he runs into like this door frame in his house that like goes flying out of the frame. It's funny. But that's how the Giants won a game is Daniel Jones got the zoomies.
We got to figure out what that mushroom's called. Okay, I get it. I respect it. The bottom three, I have a Giants, Bears, Panthers, but I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot to
Bears, Panthers, Giants.
Yeah. Well, here's the problem.
Jalen Mayfield played significant snaps for the Giants.
He's bad.
He is elevated off the practice squad. Ben Bredeson's worst center performance I've ever seen in my entire life. The poor Josh Izudu, I feel bad for him because he's a guard.
Left tackle.
Right?
Yeah.
Playing left tackle. He gets Daniel Jones sacked a bunch. He was like emotional after the game because he's so frustrated. And it's like, why are you playing him there? You ended up bringing Matt Pert in to play left tackle. How is your answer to not play the tackle at tackle? Like you are putting a second-year player who used a third-round pick on in such a bad situation by rolling him out there at tackle. And sure enough, Andrew Van Ginkel's running the loop around him like he's not even there.
It's my guy, Andrew Van Ginkel, man. Been trying to tell you about him.
The Gink, yeah, he's
the Gink, is that what we're calling him?
Yeah.
The Gink. All right. My fourth favorite player on the Dolphins. Well, I put the Panthers at last because they don't have any wins. And Bears, Giants, I don't know, dude. Like the bottom three is bad. Here's the deal: the Panthers. I have them last. They're giving their first round pick to Chicago. You have a big situation here with Chicago that could potentially have a couple of top 5 picks, maybe even a couple of top 3.
Yeah, this is gonna get really nutty. Yeah. At least Houston's looking competitive for them sending their one to Arizona.
Right.
But now you got Carolina's one is to Chicago. Chicago's going to be sitting real pretty for. Hey, I have a.
Well, Houston, in Houston's defense, they also still have they get Cleveland's first round pick.
Right.
So
right.
It's too bad they couldn't send Cleveland's first round pick. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe Houston can win some games. Probably be a mid round pick.
Are you privy to all this speculation and buzz going on right now about the Bryce Young pick and whose pick it was and Frank Reich? And
I saw some of these press conference clips. What do you deduce from that? You don't think Frank Reich wanted Bryce Young?
What I deduced from it is I probably would not want to be Dave Tepper's head coach.
Yeah. Well, sure, because he's talking about meetings and weird stuff. It feels Mike Brown-like, right? In Cincy.
Yeah.
Tepper's a problem. Tepper's one of those bad owners.
When he's new, too, so he doesn't know yet. He's going to find out because he's going to.
You'd like to think he was in Pittsburgh. He had a front row seat to kind of what you're supposed to do.
And then proceeded to do everything that's not that.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: is like it goes so far. It's not just hiring Matt Rule, weird personnel stuff, not being patient. Like even the whole situation with the practice facility in Rock Hill, taking out the grass surface at Bank of America.
Ground and
yeah, dude,
they were like a year in, and then he turned around and said, "Screw you! I'll just pay the $1 million fine or whatever it is and pull out."
That screwed so many like workers that were like on that job out, like just bad stuff. Like nobody likes Dave. Like I know he brought music in concerts to Charlotte, but like
he brought Bryce Young too,
brother. There's not a lot of energy here. I mean, this should be a team year one with a number 1 overall pick. I talk to Panthers fans all the time. They're like, I don't know, like they can't get excited because Dave Tepper. Like it's not a good situation, man.
Yeah. No, I as somebody whose owner has voiced his own opinions at times on what should be done, I do think there is probably something to the hand of influence that Dave Tepper carries and the decision that the team ultimately did make at number 1. Too many people that I know and respect and have been in the space for an extended period of time. Some of them who know Frank Reich have come out and said that wasn't the literal definition of everything that Frank Reich we have known him to covet at the quarterback position.
There's still a lot of people that thought Bryce Young was QB1 though. Like it's not that crazy to think.
I agree
that they could have come to that conclusion. People I respect thought Bryce Young was a great prospect.
I know. But then there's also if an owner is to be involved in those kinds of decisions, there's a lot of the brand of Bryce Young and championship pedigree and Alabama. And I don't know, you think about the influence with Bidwell and Kyler Murray when they pivoted with their number 1 overall pick. And it was, we would sell ticket sales and be all that. And Arizona had one good year. I don't know that.
They were paper tigers, though, and everybody knew it.
No, not everybody. A few people in your mentions. I don't know. I have some thoughts on where Carolina is going, and it feels very Chicago-y already with Justin Fields. And I know the timeline was different with the coach, but I don't know. I don't see there being a lot of patience here for this to develop the way that it's going to have to.
You don't just have the number 1 pick invested in Bryce Young. You have multiple.
Right. You have next year's. You've got next year's, which might be a top 3 pick,
and DJ Moore.
They're last on our power rankings, is what we are meaning to say.
No, you have the Giants. You have the Giants.
Yeah. I would say from aggregate, though, because you have the Giants at 14 and I have the Panthers at 15.
Yeah.
So they're last on our power rankings. That's going to do it for us here today on the show. I'm Kyle Krabs. He's Joe Marino. We are locked on NFL Scouting. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Make it a great rest of your day. We will be back again tomorrow to start to look at week 6 of the 2023 NFL season. We are looking forward to that, and we hope to see you then.